in methods: get, post, put, delete, patch, anything. And that is we already completed. Using that, we have created one weather app also. So this is done by Wasabi. And one thing that I liked about this project is whenever you are searching the weather, it will change the background. And the next very thing that I like, the forecasting of next 7 days, right? Including today. So if today is this date, it is showing the weather forecast for 1st of February. Same thing is available in the API, by the way, in the forecast section. You can check that. So impressive. Good work. So these kind of things. But you forgot one thing also. And that thing is when you are changing the background color, you are forgot to change the button color, and which is not synchronizing with the background now. Both are having the bluish shade. So that you can fix. The rest everything is fine. And how many of you haven't even started? Oh, no need to ask. So let's start now. Now we are going to discuss about forms. Typically, we are talking about forms only, but we are just adding one word as a prefix to them, that is react. What is form? What is form? Form is a method of collecting user input, and that user input can be anything: email ID, password, login details, sign up details, personal details, professional details. So form is a method to take users input. Whenever we are talking about form, we are not saying about login form or sign up form. First remove that definition from your mind, that registration form, login form, sign up form, that is not the definition of forms. The actual definition is they are used to take users input. Why they are used? Are you okay? They are used to take users input, and input can be anything. If you are just asking user that what is your age, that is also where we are asking only age. No, it is also a form. So we will write forms are the method of taking user input in programming. So whenever you want to take users input, at that time you will use forms, right? So let's go back to React. As we will build a form, so we will create a new project as well. We will make use of wheat using JavaScript. So yes, project is working fine. There is no issue in the project. Now we will start customizing it. We'll remove everything from here and from index.css as well and app.css. Here we will create a functional component, and in that functional component at first JSX. Inside that I will write a form. So we will just create a simple form, let's say email. We are asking for email. So we will write its input type equals to email. After that, we will ask the password as well. We are discussing forms in React. It means that React is offering some extended support for the forms. Otherwise, we would not be discussing the forms. So what is that particular advantages? We'll see that. And at last, let's create an input type as submit also. Input type as submit. So we will get a basic layout of the form. For a more code readability, let's attach one more break tag. So this is a basic form that we got here for email ID and for password. Have you ever noticed? So what we will do is, let's say I'm writing abc@gmail.com and password, some random password I will write. First thing is, when I'm trying to submit the form, so a question mark is coming here, right? A question mark is coming. Check the URL coming. Yesterday, means when fetching the API, we saw that we use question mark to pass the parameters, right? We use question mark in URL to pass the parameters like key equals to API key and Q equals to Hyderabad or Vizag or Guntur or any location, right? We use that. So here what parameter it is taking? Okay. So I am trying to say that this form action, what do you mean by this action keyword? Means whenever a input type as submit or a button is getting clicked inside this form, what action it will perform. So let's say I am performing one function as submit form. That's it. Or I am writing submit form. Then method I am writing as post. Method I am writing as post. This time I have attached this action and method. Generally this action will throw you some errors here because this is not defined. As it is React, so it will be asking you that where is your method. So go to console and we will start writing the values again. So abc@gmail.com and some password. Now when I'm clicking on submit, so it is throwing the error that submit but page is not defined, right? When I'm clicking on submit, it is saying that the local host page can't be found because it is trying to run the submit form action after your submission, right? As we are dealing with React, so we should be having these values, right? We should be having these values because you need to write the value here. So let's say for this email ID, if I'm writing value equals to empty string. So go back, everything is working fine because empty string you have written in the value. Here, if you are writing some value by default abc at the rate of gmail.com, so it's coming here. Whenever you are refreshing, this email ID will be stick there. Everything is fine till now, but go to console and check a particular warning. So the warning is you provided a value prop to a form field without an on change handler. This will render a read only field. So it is saying that you are trying to write something to a value as a prop. And if I'm giving a empty string, I'm not writing any value. I'm giving a empty string. On empty string, let's refresh, and same that you have provided form field this that. Here comes the concept of two things: controlled component and uncontrolled component. See, we know one thing about React, that it only re-renders the page. It only re-renders the page when state is changing. When state is changing, it means that if you are making change to this input box, React will know nothing about it, and your form will be as it is in the previous state. So for that, let's create the state here. So I will create email and set email and use state empty string. Const password, set password. And in its use state, I'll give a empty string. Here in the value parameter of this input box, I will write the value equals to email. Okay, means this state value I am passing to it. Same thing I will do with the password also, that its value is password. After writing this thing, nothing will change, because here you are trying to assign some empty values. Nothing will change, don't worry about it. But we will get these kind of values, that a component is changing an uncontrolled input to be controlled. This is likely caused by changing the value from undefined to defined, something like that. It will tell you. Clear the console and refresh it. You provided a value prop to a form field without on change. Now it is saying this thing. First, you need to understand what is controlled component and uncontrolled component. In this case, the email ID and password are managed by React. In this case, email ID and password both are managed by right value equals to some empty string. Okay. Now go back to the browser and refresh. Now I will type some value here. So let's say abc equals to, it is not allowing you to type because you are trying to set a static value to it, that it's empty string. And if you want to type some value, you need to write on change method here. Whenever you are assigning, let me make it more readable. So whenever you are trying to write a input box and you are writing its value value in this way. Let me remove it for now. Now refresh. Now we can write some value here. In both of the input box, we can write the value. Okay. In both of the input box, we can write the value. But when you are assigning the value parameter, you will see something. It is saying that a component is changing an uncontrolled input. What it is saying? Uncontrolled input means your component means your app.jsx. This file is trying to change the value of an uncontrolled input. And by the meaning of uncontrolled, here if I am writing some value, let's say abc@gmail.com, can React control this value? No, because React knows hooks only. If you are using hooks, then React can at least surf these values, use these values. Here, if I'm hard coding the value, there is not even a single thing that React can manage. You can manage, but by using DOM methods, document.getElement by ID, then you have to give it ID, then fetch its value. But using normal DOM here in React is out of the rules, that no, you can't use DOM. You can't use DOM because it has the virtual DOM. So it will say that why don't you try states? Same thing you can do with the states also. So whenever this kind of situation occur, that component is trying to change the value of an input box in an uncontrolled way. So it will throw you this kind of warning. And in this case, validation of a form will be very tough, very tough. That's how the concept of controlled component and uncontrolled component comes in action. It is generally asked in interviews. So controlled components. If a component is managing the value of input box, managing the value of the input box by using states of React, means if the value of all the input box is getting managed by state of Reacts in a form, we are talking about form. So this controlled components and uncontrolled components are defined with respect to the forms only, with respect to forms. That if a component is managing the value of input by using states of React in a form, then it is said to be a controlled component. For that, what we will do is we will define those values. However many field you want to manage, declare their state. So I want to manage email, so write set email as well. And here I will write use state, empty string, same. Now the value of these input box will be managed by their corresponding value section. So this is the email value, so email state will manage, and this is the password value, so password state will manage. This time when you will refresh the console, you will get one different kind of warning. So the warning will say you that on change method you are not writing. You provided a value prop to a form field without an on change handler. Means you have written a static value to this input box, but you are not writing the on change method. If you have provided the value to the input box and if you're not writing the on change method, it will not let you allow to click here. So you can see that I am not able to type anything. For that we need to attach on change method. And how we are using that on change method we have already given. So for the first one I will write on change. In this on change it will directly call the set email. In set email it will take the event from here, setting the value e dot target dot value, and the input type as password. This will also be having same thing, means the on change method. In this on change method it will call the set, set password. In set password it will set the value to e dot target dot value, and then you can define the e here. That's it. Now we will start writing. So let's say email I'm writing abc at the rate of gmail.com, and password I will write as some random password. And when I'm clicking on submit, so it is trying to call slash submit form, but it is not defined. To the form tag I have written action equals to submit form. I will remove it for a moment. I'll keep that back, but here I am trying to write it. So let's go back. I will write some email ID here and some password. Now submit. So now what it is saying, this localhost page can't be found, even though I'm not mapping it to somewhere. Now let's start validating this form. What I want is it will call the submit form button. It will call the submit form button. Means this action it will call. So refresh. I think the localhost only is terminated. Can we define this function also? Because we are writing a submit form function, so we need to define it. Now if you are trying to define this function, so before return you need to define. So let's create a const submit form, and I'll create a arrow function here. Now we are writing a simple validation. What we are writing? We are writing a simple validation that if email is equals to, or let me first directly give an alert. At first I will give the alert that logged in successfully. Logged in successfully. But you will see one thing, that if you are writing in this way, it is not going to work, right? If we are writing the submit form in this simple case, it will not work. So let's write the values. Again it is saying that this local host page can't be found. Why? Now we are writing the function as well. We are writing the function because you are writing a inner function, but this submit form it will try to find it in the entire React application, that where is the submit form page, where is submit form page, it will try to find that. But as of now, so let me remove this part, and we will first validate the Let me remove the form. At first, we will validate these field. If I am saying this is my form now, go back to home page. I can submit whenever these fields are empty. I'm able to submit the form whenever these fields are empty. If I want that user should not be able to submit the form when the fields are empty, what we have to do for that? Required attribute, right? We need to write required attribute for that. So let's write required. To the password also, I will say that it is required. Okay. Now, if you are trying to submit, it will say that please fill out this field. If I am writing ABC here, and will it take sign in? Because to this input box we have set the type as email, so it will accept a email type. Now it's fine. Now this were the empty things. If I want that user should not write a email ID less than 6 characters, because at the rate of gmail.com 10 characters are these, more 6 character at least user need to write. Because let's say abc, this is not a genuine email id, shivam at the rate of gmail id. If it is written like that, shivam at the rate of gmail.com, it will be having 16 letters. That is fine. If I want to write this validation now, min length, right? We have something called min length or pattern attribute we can write. But you notice one thing, if you actually want to validate a form, how long it will be? Let's say in a registration form, 10 fields are there, and you have to write the validation for all the forms field. It will be more than 100 lines of code for the form only. And as a React developer, it's not a good practice. That's how React hook form come into action. So here this is the controlled component. We will discuss about uncontrolled components as well. When a component is not managing the value of the input fields of a form, then it is said to be uncontrolled component. Now this was about controlled component and uncontrolled component. Now if we are talking about type of validation, it will be a very lengthy process, very lengthy, and code will go too much big. For solving this thing, there is a hook, or you can say there is a library, and the library is React hook form. This one, React hook form.com. This library is particularly designed for all the React problems along with the mobile apps also. Here you can write for mobile apps as well, not only the website. So it works with React Native also. Now we are going to use this React hook form. So you will see something like that. It's coming, right? But here, this is the validation of this form. This is a form. In the left hand side you can check, and these are the corresponding value that at first it is asking you first name. So let's say if I'm writing SHIVAM, you can see it live here, that if you are using this form, how will it actually work. So first name has been done, second done, third ABC at the rate gmail.com, mobile number, let's say some random mobile number I will write and star. Yes, I am. Last section is for developer, means are you a developer or not? So I will select yes. Now whenever you are trying to submit this form, it will show you the corresponding problems as well. Validation errors will appear here, means whatever errors are there in your validation, they will appear here. So what were the errors? There is no error, right? There is no error, but we can create the error. So here this is the mobile number field. Now this is the validation error, right? If you are trying to submit the form now, you will see that mobile number is having a min length attribute, that at least these many digits should be there in your mobile number. So on 5 it is not taking, on 6 it is fine. Is it correct here? Is there any mobile number in the world who has 6 digits? Array, most of the landline numbers are of 6 digit only, and if you don't have landline also, all the corresponding phones are of 6 digit only. Whenever you are trying to call the customer care 5000001, you can call to this. So in that way we can have some mobile numbers in 6 digits. How to use this? For that, go to top, go to get started. First thing that you need to install it. I told you yesterday that whatever you want to install using npm command is very simple. Npm install and that thing name. If you want to install Apple, npm install Apple. But there is no package as Apple, right? Don't think that Apple will come and you can eat. Nothing like that. So React hook form library. Steps of. And yes, guys, you need to build the weather application and the currency converter application. It's mandatory for all of you to build it. In the first step, open the terminal and execute npm install react hyphen hook hyphen form. So we'll go to our terminal and we'll execute it in our react hyphen folder. So go to your directory and npm install react hyphen hook hyphen form. Now these are the libraries that you need to import from outside. Let's say after the form we will talk about react routers. So router also you need to import from outside. It doesn't come with the base package of react, right? So in the next thing you will see that the following code except demonstrate a basic uses example. So you can copy paste this code directly, but we will try to understand these things, that how it is actually going to work here. Okay, this is for JavaScript and this is for TypeScript. If you are using TypeScript, means Angular. If you are using Angular, so you can use write this code. If you are on JavaScript, for this you can write this code. But generally we will not write the code, we will just copy paste this form. So copy this form and paste. You need to edit this. It is not like it will be having all the functionality. And I will remove all the comments. So this is what your form is saying. This one. If you check its front end, so nothing is coming. Let's rerun. Okay. When you check the console, there will be a problem in the console. This one, that error is coming. That's why part is not loading. And the reason for error is we are trying to use something from hook, but we have not imported it. For that, let's import. So I will write import use form, or what is that? Use form only from React hook form. In this way, I will write. But you will see that use form is not having any uses in the code, and the code is still the same. The code is still the same. It is throwing error somewhere else. And check, consider adding the error boundary to your tree to customize error handling behavior. And this is the main highlight of this hook, that if you are using the forms generated by this React hook form, it will add the error handling capabilities of your component. Generally, we have to write everything. Generally, we have to write everything. But here we don't have to write. So now let's copy the entire code and we will paste. And this time it is coming in this way. So if I remove the test field, don't know what is this test. So just write here something, and then we will write something password and submit. On submit, the data is going to console. The data is going to console, means form is getting validated in the console. The form is getting validated in the console. It simply means whatever value you are writing here. Let's say I will write, and this part, who is printing this part? Continuous value on change listener. If I'm clicking on submit button, so you will see that it is coming, right? Example is an example required. This one means this form is getting automatically validated using the hook. But how it is getting validated, for that we will understand this. Let's make it more clean. Generally, you need to write comments in your code, but I am removing so that we can easily read out the things. How the code is starting, that const, and there are multiple values, typically the object values, which are using the use form hook. And this is the substitution of our state. Let's say we have to write const email set email equals to use state. We have to define all the fields in a different way. Here using the use form hook. Here using the use form hook, you can declare register, handle submit, watch, and form state of errors. These things you can handle. After that, on submit, you are just taking the data and printing it to console. How your form is written? Your form is written in a way that on submit, whenever you are trying to submit this form, it will call a function will with a name handle submit with giving it an argument on submit field values of a form. This on submit method or argument consists the field values, whatever you have written there. Okay, that's fine. Here something is written as default value equals to test. You can remove it, this value. We can remove this value. And when we are refreshing, no value will come. Okay. So console.log, I will remove this part for a while so that whenever I am typing something here, it is not getting printed to console. Now, how this form is getting validated, you need to understand this. Input spread operator of register example. What is this? Here is we haven't written any type equals to email, something like that. We haven't written. We have just written something like register. It means that we have defined a register parameter somewhere and which is using the use form hook. It means that this particular input box is linked to this form now. By writing the value in this way, it is linked. Can we check it? So I am removing this parameter from here. Go back to console, refresh it. Here I will write some SSS and 111. Click on submit. This time you will see that the SSS value is not going to console. Why? Because the form doesn't know that I have a field here like in this way. This form does not know about it that I have a form with this name also, because it's a box written inside the form. It doesn't matter when it knows one thing, that if you are linking it, so linking requires the spreading of function form with its attribute. So this is a register attribute. This is a register attribute. Now if I am writing in this way, means I am linking the input box to the form with a name register. Right here I have written registered, and what I will do is to this register I will write one more thing here as email. I have written register email. In bracket I have given one parameter as email. So let's refresh and let's write the email and some password and submit. You will see that this data is going as email ID and example required. So whatever value you are writing here, it is actually the type of input box. It is actually the type of input box. It means that if I am changing this type to password, will it be behaving like password? So let's refresh email ID and here some password. Why it is not behaving like password? It should come with dot dot dot, right? Password means that only. If I am writing its name as password, its name as password, it should behave like a password. But when you are throwing the value, so value will go to console with this parameter email and name. Email and name. One more thing, the particular part is really behaving like email. So the answer is no, because it is accepting the normal values also. It should not accept the values which do not have the signature of at the rate and some gmail.com, yahoo-mail.com, something like that, but it is accepting. Means form is getting validated, but input box needs to be validated here. Go back to hook form and you will see one method here, apply validation. Click on this. In this, these are the validation that you can write. Means if you want to validate a input box, this you can write. So let's say here in the code email ID, I'll keep a comma and one. In this, now you can write the validation. In this curly brackets, you can write the validations now. In what way? So let's say you are writing minimum length. And minimum length you are saying, let's say around 16. What I have said, minimum length as 16. Now it is asking the password first. When I'm writing the password, click on submit, it is going. Email ID is empty, but data is going to console. Who is printing this data to console? For that, this form is having a on submit method as handle submit and here. Okay. In this way, why email ID is going? Because it is not having the validation of required. For that, I will annote this thing with minimum length. I will write one more part, that required colon true, that yes, it is required. Means you need to write the values. Without values, it will not be going to submit. Now it is asking the values. So let's write ABC and here's some value. This time again it is not going to submit. The reason is it is asking at least 16 characters here. What it is asking, at least 16 characters. And this time data is going correctly. Right? What other validations we are having here? Other validations are available in the form of minimum, maximum, minimum length, maximum length. One more thing is validate. Means in validation also it is saying validate. In validation section also it is giving you one field, that validate. Now what is this validate? For that I will write it here, that validate. And in this validate, if you are writing let's say true, means this validate will be true here. In this case, refresh, write the values and submit. It's not accepting the values because we have set a minimum length. So write the correct email ID and submit. Data is again working in the same way. What was the use of validate then? If we are writing this validate as true, how it is working? No need. Come here and just see. In this entire function, everything is written in a different way, that we are not writing our forms in this way, right? We are not writing our forms in this way. It is totally absurd. It is totally absurd. It means which method we need to follow, previous one or this one? So answer is it depends on you, that which method you want to follow. If you want to follow the existing method with the, in that you need to write lot of code, you can write that. If you want to follow this method, it's totally your choice, that you can write the data in this way also, right? You can write the data in this way as well. Now what we will do is, let's copy this code and we'll paste, and you will see one thing here, that it is a registration form which is trying to register a user by writing some different things of validation. Let's go back to our page, and it is, there are three fields. So first one is for first name, last name and the third section is for age. So if I am writing the age as 12 and click on submit, so you will see that it is not going to be submit. It is not going to be submit until and unless you are keeping your age 18. Now data is going to be submit, but where? For that we need to check console. So you will see that data is coming here multiple times. So clear the console, click on submit. You will see that age 18, first name Shivam, last name Kumar. It is coming. This data is getting validation here. How you are building this part? So same thing, you need to register. Dot 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 register means the data is, this particular input field is connected to the form now. What validation it will be having? Its name is age, minimum is 18 and maximum is 99. In this, if you are writing a value more than 99, form again will not be going to validate. It is showing you that something is problem in this particular input field. Next thing that is available in this hook is, if you are already having a form from your previous development, you can convert that to this React hook form. These are the methods. If you have some UI libraries like Tailwind is there, right? So we can include there also. The main game is handling the errors. How the errors are going to be handled here. In this particular part, errors are going to be handled. For that, I'll show you the code. In this code, we know that age should be between 18 and 99, right? You know this thing that age should be between 18 and 99. So let's write the values. It is saying that this input box is not getting validated. Means something is problem. But what is the problem? If you are not telling the user that your age should be between 18 and 99, you cannot go to this website, right? You cannot go to this website, but you are not handling this part. For that, it provides you the better error handling also. So let's copy and paste the code, and this time something we are writing. So first name we are asking, and then email address. That's it. So there are two fields in which we are asking the first name and email address. Once we will check the attributes also. So if you check the first name, required, true. Yes, it is required. Email ID, email address is required. Yes, it is also required. So here I'm not writing anything, and here I'll write my email ID. First name is required. This paragraph is getting printed here. Started writing some values here, let's say Shivam, that is removed. When you written a value in this input box, that part is removed. I'll not write email this time. Email address is required. We refresh it, submit. Both are required. You can design this thing obviously. Where we need to design it and from where these two parts are coming. So just go to the code again and check this line. Error dot first name. If error is coming, ternary operator. If error is returning true, then aria hyphen invalid will have true or else false. Error dot first name dot type. What is the type of error? required and role. It means that if the error is saying that this value is required and user is not writing the value, you have to write a paragraph. In paragraph, the role of the paragraph is to alert. Alert means whenever you are trying to change, it will be removed. And the thing that you need to show is first name is required. If I am writing the paragraph role equals to alert, so this is simple thing that paragraph first name is required and submit. It's coming. Let's write some value here, and here also I will write some value. So what was the role of paragraph now? If both are getting removed, what is the role of paragraph? Submit it, might be going to console, so data is coming. If I am removing this part, again email address is required and first name is required. So here if you're writing p role as alert, what is this? Do you have any attribute in paragraph as role? This is an attribute you are writing to paragraph. Have you studied any attribute named as role? No. So why it is here? Is it for code readability or is it performing some actions also? If I'm writing that role equals to alert, is it alerting me that you need to file the values? Write this as your task for today and answer me tomorrow. Because tomorrow is the day for checking two other tasks. Remember? Implementation of layout effect and debug value. Right? So simple things are there about this form hook. Nothing more to discuss. In this way you can check other things also if you want to. Generally it will give you a template that you can copy paste for your forms if you don't want to write the code by your cell phone, right? If you are having some form validation, you can write it in this way. But I am not saying that the form that you are writing will not work. Of course it will work, it will get validated, it will be performing the operations, everything it will do, right? Okay. Now we are going to discuss about one different concept. So for that, let me open Zerodha website. In that we are having footer, header and main, or not Zerodha website actually. So let's say this first one. In this project, let's first create a functional component which is rendering app. We will write a heading here that app is working. And this is a normal React project, so I will start it with npm start. There's no need of writing npm run dev here. So you will see that app is working. Now till now, if you are noticing this thing, we are working on only one component. Means we are not switching between pages, right? Switching between pages means if you have a website which will be having multiple pages and you are going to other pages and coming back to home pages, means your React is a single page application. But that's why we are studying React, single page application. but we will try are there behaving like a single page. For that, let me first create a normal anchor tag here. Generally, because we switch using anchor tag, right? So I'm creating a anchor tag with its href. In starting, let's go to Google. So you will see that Google is coming, and if you're clicking on this, of course, you are going to Google. If you want to go to a page which is available in your directory, for that in app, in src folder, I will create a new file as second.js, and which is just rendering a functional component as second. That's it. If I want to go to that thing, what will be the path? Can I directly write second.js here? Because the file name is second.js. If we have to give the path, dot slash will be the path because it's in the same folder. If we are using these kind of techniques and checking it, so text I will change to second. It is going to second.js. You can check, but app is working and second is visible here. Means it is trying to go somewhere, but it is not able to go to that particular link. If we are directly rendering without giving the path, that second.js, not option. We can try one more method. So let's create a state const and link set link, and in its use state I will set the path of second.js, and here instead of writing it in single quote, I will write it as a expression that href is equals to link. In this way, because it's React, so we can provide the values as expressions. First go to home page, app is working, and second. Click on second. You will notice one thing. URL. URL is changing and URL is opening the normal page. If I open this URL in a next tab, same way that localhost 3000, I want especially the second.js page. It is opening the first one only. If I am writing app.js here, because we know that this file name is app.js, same file is getting opened here. It means that there is some another thing that we have to use here. For that purpose only, we will discuss about React routers. You know routers? What is the work of routers? Wi-Fi routers are there. What is the work of a Wi-Fi router? Work of Wi-Fi router. The work of a Wi-Fi router is it will take the input through a single stream. Generally there will be a LAN cable will be coming into a router, and it will be providing that data to a larger area in the form of separation, right? Because let's say if a router is kept here, 20 people, 30 people can connect to the same Wi-Fi. Why? Because it is taking input in a different form and producing the output in a different form. So router is something which will take the input and produce the desired output. It means Okay, we will to go to some file which is not available. Let's say sss.jsx. It is not available, right? This particular file is not available in our application, and you will see that it is going again to the same app.js file. It means something is there who is managing this thing. So one thing I can solve here only, that whenever you are rendering the React, you are rendering app. So whatever you open, because your root is rendering app.js, doesn't matter what you are writing here, right? It doesn't matter what you are writing here, it will render the app.js only. So we need to use the React router library for that we will discuss tomorrow. So first step is open the terminal and execute command. Second step is import use form hook from react hyphen hook hyphen form, and this is the command. In step 3, declare the fields using the use form hook. And this is not compulsory that React does not support HTML form. Yes, it does supports. It is not a single percent thing that okay, it will not support that. It will support. So tomorrow we will discuss about React routers. And that is a important thing, because new concept is there and useful concept how to navigate between the pages. And it's, we will install router from third party source, means externally we have to import it, internally it is not available. No, not like API is fetched, API is not installed. When we talk about APIs are fetched. If you are working with API, you will say that I am fetching the API. If you are working with router, you will say I am installing the router, right? Fetching means you are fetching something, you will use it and you will let it go. Use and throw. Okay, installing means permanent installation. Until unless you are deleting it. Okay, fine guys, we'll connect again tomorrow. Have a nice time everyone. Bye bye, take care.